and share my screen to walk everyone through a couple of things. And then I think a lot of the learning happens when you actually have to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with everyone. It does not quite help when you have too many tabs open. Okay, so I have like a sample document with everyone's name on this. You can ignore it for a little bit. But I would say for the most part, the Google Docs, dashboard or interface is really familiar, is really comparable to Microsoft Word. I think the biggest challenge you might have from coming from Word to Docs is just where is everything at? Once you know where everything at, you pretty much know how to do the whatever you can do on a Word, a lot of it you can do on Google Docs. The only thing the Word application may not have is that collaborative feature with like the commenting and the suggestions and the sharing all in real time. Going through a little bit of the basics, your toolbar, that little gray part will have a lot of the functions that you need to do. Undoing, redoing, print, grammar check. If you need a format, zoom, change your fonts and styles, sizing, bolding, links, commenting, which we'll talk about a little bit, inserting images, and once again, formatting, indenting, adding bullet points. So all of this we've seen before in Microsoft Word. It's just like, where the heck is it on a Google Docs? A lot of times, most of the things you need to do will be in this toolbar. Since the Google Doc is like an application or a document that lives on the web, sometimes you might need to download it and have it to go, you need it to go to your computer. The same thing like when you need to save a Word document, download it. Well, it's not really, maybe not download, but a lot of times on Word, you just go to File and you do the same thing with the docs. You create something new, you can open another docs, you can make a copy, you can rename it, but a lot of times maybe download is not where you might come. So a docs can be converted into a Word, amongst other things, like a PDF or like a web page or these other. A lot of times you might most likely be turning it into a Word document or to a PDF. And it does it for you automatically. It's just a matter of going to File and telling it what you want it to be converted to. File is also where you'll be able to print. File is also where you'll be able to see something called version history. That's not what I want to click on. So a lot of times when people use Word, like if someone is, for lack of a better word, drafting a report, like they'll have version 1 and a new file version 2 and another one version 3. You can do that on Docs, but something that's really great with Docs is that you really don't need 3 different files with 3 different versions. Each time you manipulate a document, you add, you take away, like it's building an evolution or a timeline, I should say, of what the document has looked like over time. I just created this document today, so it doesn't really have a long life. But I can show you what it looked like at 12:49. It was blank. And at 12:52, I added all these words to it. And each day after, each time I make a change, it continues to, I would have more options, more dates to see how my document has evolved over time. So if you wanted, yes, you could have Google Docs version 1, Google Docs version 2, Google Docs version 3. But know that whenever you create a doc and you continue to work from it, you have this version history that will show you what did your previous drafts look like within this single document. Yes, Renee.
Could you go, where did you get to the version part to say
File. This version.
version history? And then say I want to use the first version I did or the previous version I used.
Yep.
Is there, so you, and then,
I
so you
click
go
on, like,
there.
for example, if I wanted it to look January 25th, I would click on the date and you could rename it. If I wanted it, I could call, like, well, maybe it
Okay.
might be helpful to have January 25th version 1. And then when I click on it, it asks me if I want to restore it to this version.
Oh, okay.
and it will actually show you like everything in color is what's different. So each time you have another version or existence, it'll show you in a different color. Like maybe version one was in purple, and then version two is in green. So you can kind of see what was different between January 25th, 12 o'clock version, January 25th, 1 o'clock version.
Oh, I
And
knew
it's
I'd be learning something.
Of course, that's always the goal. And that's very helpful, especially when you have multiple people working on a document. Like sometimes someone will be like, I changed this. And it's like, I don't know. I can't tell what you did. You can go to version history and it'll tell you what's different between the last time you left it. And it'll also give you the person's name. Like it tells me Kiera is the one who did all these teal things. Yes, Carolina.
Kiara, is this something that everyone who has access to the document will see it, or is it just the owner of the document or editors?
Everyone.
Okay.
I actually don't know if a viewer can see it, but definitely an editor, anyone who has editing privileges. That's a good
Okay.
question. I don't know if a viewer can see it, but as long as someone has the ability to go to file, most likely you will see. I typically don't get, typically when someone shares something with me, I always get the privilege of being an editor. So I don't know what it looks like the other side, but that would be something great to test out. Carolina, that's a good question.
Mm.
Edit, undo, redo. Viewing, I typically never really use this for, but if you want to change how the layout of your document looks like, I know the same thing with Word. Sometimes you can remove the different, like, and like if you don't want it to separate between the different pages, everything will blend too. If you want it to be in print mode, that's why you would use the view section. Insert, if you need to add an image or a table or a picture or a special character or a footnote, most likely this is where you're going to come whenever you need to insert something, which is very similar to Word. Formatting, you want to change bold, italicize, paragraph. So a lot of the functions that are listed under here are on this toolbar, but of course they can't put everything on the toolbar or else the toolbar would never end. So a lot of the quick ones that you'll need, they'll be here. If you want the full extended menu options, a lot of times you're going to be coming up here. And the more you use Docs, the more you'll know whether you need to go to File or whether you need to go to Insert to find something. Going back to, and once again, I'm just narrating everything and then I'm going to walk everyone through these different steps. The feature that Carolina was talking about, something that's great in Google Docs that the Word application does not have. The online version does, but not the downloaded version, is the comment and suggest mode feature. If I want to collaborate on this document with Carolina and I want to communicate with her, I can leave her comments on it. How in the world do I do that? Well, there's multiple ways you can do that. There's a comment button right here. There's a comment button right here. I can also right click and get the comment right here. But the comment button allows you to communicate with people within the document about something on the document. This would make more sense if Carolina was the one who had created the document, but so whoever created the document, they're gonna get a notification that Kiera at 112 made this comment. Only the person who owned this document will get that notification. But anyone who opens it will be able to see this comment. If I want someone other than the author of this document to see this comment, which a lot of times you may, because a lot of times the person just created the document, but they really have nothing else to do with it. It's other people who are going to be managing it and doing stuff like Melissa, who often they give her the document and she's doing all her wonderful work with it. If you want someone other than the editor or the owner of the document to get your message, then it would probably just be, well, I don't know. It's gonna pop up. I'm on my home account. Well, I'll just put myself. Then you would just put their email address and I know that the email address is good because it's in blue. And now I'm gonna get an email that Kiera just made a comment saying, hey. So you can't really do that on the Word application. Like I would have to email Carolina the document, attach it, and be like, tell her all the wonderful things I want to tell her about her document. But this is live. It's in real time. Carolina's gonna get the email. And if I do 5 of them, then she's gonna get 5 different notifications of my 5 different comments. Yes, Melissa.
So when you do that, do they have to be marked as like a viewer on that document already, or does that automate if and depending on that answer, does that automatically make them one? Like you've invited them to it when you make that comment with their email?
If someone is a viewer, I believe they will be able to get the they'll be able to see the comments. They just can't change anything. They won't be able to make comments though. So with all Google applications, there are 3 privileges. There's the editor who can do everything. There's the viewer who can only look at it. And there's the commenter who can look at it and make comments. So if someone's just a viewer, they won't be able to make comments. They can just look at it and they really can't interact with it. But if someone is a commenter, not only can they view it, but they can also make comments on the document like I just did. So they can't change anything, but they can make comments on the side like I just did. And then going back to the other useful tool that Carolina talked about is suggest mode. Is anyone here familiar with track changes on Word? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, the great thing is, I think this is a little bit easier than track changes. But whether it's track changes on Word or whether it's suggest mode in Google Docs, the main point of that feature is to allow people to give you feedback on your document. So like it could be spelling, it could be grammar, it could be content, like this is wrong or this date is wrong. It's a way for them to give you feedback. The one thing I really appreciate, well, I'll just demonstrate it. That might be easier. To get into suggest mode, you just come to editing here, and then you can click on suggesting, or you can also right click, and it'll give you suggested edits. And once I'm in suggestion mode, in order to give someone feedback or feedback that's really specific, for example, if TPF was spelled wrong, instead of telling, for example, Melissa, the Patterson Foundation is spelled wrong, I can just do it. For example, I would delete this. It's actually spelled right, though. I'm spelling it wrong. And now you can see as I'm giving my feedback, making my suggested changes, on the right-hand side, you can see how the Google Docs is basically notating it to me. So when Lindsay comes to this document, she can see that Kiara is telling her that she needs to replace how she first referred to the Patterson Foundation with this second version of how TPF should be. And each time I make a suggestion, it will appear on the right-hand side.
So are you just hitting the backspace then? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
To make that X or to make the line through?
So it's making the line through and it's, yes. And now I get your question. Yep, I'm directly either adding stuff or deleting stuff and it's doing all the note taking for me.
Okay.
So if it comes to replacing, you cross what was not working before, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to add something
you just
without removing.
Like right here. That would be an example. Like it, and anything is in a different color is how is my note taking, is my record. For example, Carolina, where it says ongoing support, I added the second part and strengthen.
So you only click after support and started typing and that was it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
You don't have to do any of the things over here. All you do is just edit. And then the Google Docs is capturing your things for you.
And as the recipient, you accept the changes by just clicking on the check mark for each.
Yep.
And okay.
And the reason why it's called suggestion is that the great thing about this is like if Carolina created this document, she can see what she had wrote originally, in comparison to what I am suggesting. And if she likes it, she accepts it. And if she doesn't, she rejects it. So it's not permanent. As soon as she accepts things or rejects things, they either get applied and become permanent, or if I click the X, then they go away and your document becomes exactly the way you wanted it to become. Because not every piece, for the most part, a lot of things people might say, it might be relevant, like if you're missing a period or like if you spell something wrong, but there may be some suggestions someone's giving you where it's very subjective. It's really up to you whether you want to change it or not. So maybe you don't want to do that. Well, now you have the option. So a lot of times I would say comment is for overall thing, like, oh my God, Lindsay, I feel like you really did a great job. I like the direction that this is going. Versus suggest mode is really like a grammar or a spelling, or I feel like this is not how TPF is referred, or, this book is cool. This is not how we refer to this book is cool. It's supposed to be all in caps. Stuff like that is where you might want to be in suggestion mode as a guiding principle. Any questions people may have for me before we dive into doing these things? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So the version, so this is part of those versions that you were talking about, right? So before
Yeah.
any of this, accepting any suggestions or change or comments, it will show. So let's say you just removed 6, so is that gonna be 6 versions?
So it typically does it in groups. Like me working it, like we can go now to see. It hasn't created it yet. I probably have to be when you've been working on it for a whole, like let's say I was working on this document for like 2 hours, that and everything I do within that 2 hours is like a version. Like let's say I worked on it between 1 and 2, and then later tonight at 7 o'clock, I work on it again. Nope. Then I'm gonna see 2 more like version history little tab. Like when I was working on it, like between 1 and 2, and then when I was working on it between 8 and 7, just as an example. So it's not really like every single change, but it's like what you did within that particular time period. A good question, Carolina. Anyone else has additional questions for me? Okay. So I'm going to unshare my screen if I can find my little toolbar thing. Okay. 1 second, please. Where did my oh, there. Okay. So I'm going to kind of giving everyone, for those who were not in our drive class, giving just a little tidbit of that. I'm going to have everyone go to the TPF website. Just because I know that knowing how to find your documents is just as important as making them. So when you get to the TPF website, you are going to scroll down to the bottom on the footer, please. And you're going to click on TPF Tech Excellence. And on the right-hand side, you will see where it says TPF Tech Excellence Mock Drive. It's like the second to last option. Has everyone opened the mock drive? Okay. Now, up above a little bit, kind of in the center of your page, do you see where it says Tech E Mock Drive?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to left click that, go to Organize, and click Add to Start. Okay. Now on the left-hand side of your Google Drive page, you should see like a menu that says Home, My Drive, Computers. I want you to look for stars on that left-hand side. You should now see Tech Excellence Mock Drive there. Quick tip, quick helpful tip, whenever you are on the drive and you need to find something, if you're not using the gray search bar up at the top, I would recommend use star stuff. That is like, that's the same thing as bookmarking, adding things to your favorites. That's like one of the easiest things because so many things are being shared with you throughout the TPF universe. Like, try to make it easy on yourself. Once you find a folder or a document that you consistently see yourself using for your TPF work, just do exactly what I just walked you through. You're gonna left click on it, organize, add it to start. And now it will always be in that star section for you. Any questions on that? That was just a quick detour. Going back now to the mock drive, you can actually click on the mock drive now. You can click on the folder called Docs. And you can click on the 1:15:23 sample document, please. So now I want to draw everyone's attention to kind of like the upper right-hand side of the screen. You should see like 4 different icons. They're all like different animals. There's like a snake. No, it's a dragon. A jackalope, a llama, a manatee. That lets me know how many people are on this document at the same time that I am. So I know that there's 4, other than myself, there are 4 other people working on this Google Doc with me at the same time that I'm on it. As you can see, everyone has their own little section in this document. Usually it's not that clean, but for this tech excellence class, we're going to do that. Some things I want people to kind of practice. I want to practice wherever you see your, well, everyone find your little section. I want you to practice making your name bold, underlining it, and changing the color. I know these things are so simple, but the more you practice doing these simple tasks, hopefully the more they'll stay in your mind. And I'll do it too. Well, that's not a great color. Yes, Melissa.
Can you repeat what you want us to do? Sorry, somebody was banging on my door.
No, that's not a problem. Go ahead and find your name, bold it, italicize, underline, change the color. Yep. And as people add, whenever you're working on a document with someone, it's a real live document. So as I add stuff or delete stuff, it's gonna kind of move your cursor, your things around too. Kind of like when you're on like a boat and like, well, I don't know, that's probably maybe if you're like on a small boat, like any movement from like another person like affects everyone and kind of rocks you. Same thing with the Google Docs. On the TPF page, I want you to copy the URL at the top where it says thepattersonfoundation.org. Copy it. However you do that, that can be Control-C, that can be right-click and copy, whatever you want. So now, yes, you're going to return to the document. Now I want you to select your name, your full name. Just drag, oh, that's not what I want to do. Drag your cursor. Yep. And then kind of like where the changing the text color symbol is, there should be like a little chain link there. And literally a chain link. So if you go to where like the bold is, the italics is, the underline is, the highlight is, you should see a chain link. It's kind of in the center of your toolbar. I want you to click on that and I want you to paste your link there. And then select apply. And now, when you click on that name, when you click on it, the link will appear and you will automatically be transported to the TPF website. And that's how you include hyperlinks. And it's the same rule applies for your emails, whether Google or Gmail. If you ever see that chain link somewhere, that's how you add a link to something. Now, something else we are going to do is practicing making bullet points, and something else that I don't know if Word has. Maybe it does. Once I found Google Docs, I kind of moved away from using Word. I still use it though, but not as much. But if you look a little bit to the right of your toolbar, you'll see like a check mark, a checklist, kind of like next to the bullet points, you'll find like a checklist, and I want you to click on that. Yep, yep.
I'm sorry, what, Kira?
It is on, you see, let me see. On the toolbar, you see where the chain link was, Renee?
Yes,
If you go a little bit more to the right,
yes.
you should see little check marks, and I want you to click on that, please.
I I don't, I see the link and then I have add comments. We're looking in the gray bar, right?
Then, yep, you can keep going down. Keep going down.
Uh,
You'll see.
there,
Yep,
checklist.
yep, click on that, please. Yep, absolutely. Now, I want you to keep making a sentence, and you'll see how the checklist, every time you make a sentence, it's a new, like, checklist. Yep.
I don't understand what I'm doing, Kira.
Nope, not a problem, Renee. So maybe let's select your first sentence first, then we might see more of a impact. So just select where that first paragraph you have. I want you to select all of that, please.
Okay. I
And
was
then
trying to,
and
okay, just the
now
first
now
paragraph.
now you can select the checklist, and we should start seeing a difference now. Yep,
Okay,
there you go.
I
And
see.
so there's two versions of the check. Now I want you to actually click on the check box next to your checklist, and you'll see how it crosses it out. If you have, I don't know how many, there you go. But it also has another version of the check. If you go back to your little checklist icon on your toolbar, you'll see how there's kind of like the little upside down triangle. I want you to click on that because I want everyone to see that there are two versions of the checklist. There's the version where it'll strike things out for you, and some people like that. And then there's one where it doesn't strike out. It'll just add the check mark, but there'll be no strikeout. Just a preference thing, not a right or wrong.
I,
Melissa, you're on mute. I don't know if you had a question or if you're like mind blown.
This is like amazing. I never create like documents. Like I said, most of my work, they're already created and I see them once they're done. But to be able to do that and just go like strike a sentence out,
Yep.
you
I love check marks on the to-do list. I just feel so accomplished.
making me feel smart, Kira.
You just got smarter. The ding, the ding. Yes, Renee, did you have a question or a concern?
where is the upside down triangle that you were speaking of?
Yes, if you go back up to your little checkbox icon, back on your toolbar,
Yes.
right to like to the right side of it, like right next to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And now you just can see that there are two versions of the checklist. One where it strikes out things for you and the other won't. Just a preference thing. Not a wrong or right. Our next part of our little project we're going to do is we are going to insert an image because sometimes Google Docs needs images to brighten it up or do whatever. So go back to kind of help orient people on the toolbar. I'm just going to say look for the chain link on the toolbar. And then to the right of that is a comment, and to the right of that is insert image. And hopefully, I hope everyone has an image on their computer. I just want you to add an image to your little section. Let's hope that I have one. Okay. And a lot of us are familiar with doing this on a Word document. It's a simple thing. I mean, similar thing. You just insert it, find where that image is on your computer, and upload or add. And don't worry, we're not gonna judge your picture.
Oh, really?
I love that picture.
At
I like
Carlina's
that.
wedding.
Yeah.
That's cute. I see Lindsay. Now, I want you to click on the picture. Once you have your picture uploaded, I want you to click on it because you're gonna see all these little squares like at every corner up here. When you drag those squares in and out, it's gonna change the size of it. So when you drag it inwards, it gets smaller. When you drag it out, it gets bigger. Yep, yep. And a cool thing is, I don't know how many people know how to do this on Word, is that, so everyone make your picture a little bit bigger because in order to see this next part, it's gonna have to be a little bit big. If it's too small, you may not be able to see what it is I want you to see. So go ahead and make your picture a little bit bigger, please, Lindsay.
I was trying to find a bigger one, but that's the only one
Okay,
on the computer.
not a
It'll just be
problem.
blurred out.
Oh,
So you also have the ability to crop within, whenever you put an image, you also have the ability to crop it within the features. And so to do that, I want everyone to double click their image. And now you should see like these black little rectangles appear within your image. Once again, double click, double left click, I should say, and you should see like these black bars appear on every edge of the image. Does everyone see the little black bars?
Mm-hmm.
no.
Did you double click your image, Renee? Double left click.
Double left click.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Are you on a computer? That's another thing. Are you on a computer
I'm
or
on a laptop.
you on a laptop? That might help. I actually don't know. Okay. So if
Oh,
you,
I can see where it says crop image. Is
there you go.
that
Click on that. That's another thing.
okay?
I always use these shortcuts. You can also double click on it and it'll say crop image too. But the point is whether you double click or whether you right click and then click on crop, whenever you see those little, I don't know what to call them, those little black rectangles, when you move them inwards, you're gonna be able to highlight what part of your picture do you want to be shown. So if you've used the cropping tool before, this just allows you to crop it. And then once you crop it and click enter, it'll be applied. Sometimes there's nothing to crop, but just if you ever do need a crop, it's nice to know that you can. Is everyone good with the cropping?
Yes.
Okay. Renee, you good?
I am good, thank you.
Awesome. So now we're gonna practice making comments. So I want you to practice on making a comment, not suggesting, a comment on everyone's paragraph that's not your own. So there's only like, so make 4 comments essentially. And so remember to do that, you're gonna highlight the word or sentence you wanna make a comment on. You're gonna right click and then click on comment. Or Renee, since you're on a laptop, right next to the chain link, there's the add comment icon.
Okay.
Once again, we're just selecting, making a comment. Doesn't have to be a real comment. Just making a comment. 4 comments to be specific. I'm gonna actually say real stuff. Yes, Melissa. You're on mute, by the way.
Can you say that again? Because I'm on an Apple laptop, but I
Okay,
can't highlight and right click. So
not a problem, Melissa. You are just, for example, if you start out on Minds, I want you to just highlight the Patterson Foundation. Yeah, within my little paragraph.
mm-hmm.
And then up on the toolbar where you saw the chain link, you should see the add comment is like the second comment next to it.
Okay.
Yeah. And also on your right-hand side, you should also see that same little plus button. That's another way to make a comment, another way to access that feature. And you can reply. Wow. Okay. And once you make your comment, go ahead and scroll through and just see how you can, once again, just giving people exposure. There's really nothing to really see, but just you'll see all our comments on the right-hand side, and they're gonna be there until someone checks that check marks and be like, I don't want this. And so as people finish up making their comments, this doesn't always happen, and I don't know why. Just keep in mind, whenever you upload a word to Drive, it automatically becomes a doc. Sometimes in that transfer process, things don't always come over nicely. And the same thing when you download a Google Doc as a Word document, sometimes in that evolution transfer process, some things may get lost. A lot of times that may be any designs, fancy design thing. The basics like the wordings or the page numbers, those will be the same, but there are some fonts that Google has, Word doesn't have, or fonts that Word has, Google doesn't have. So they'll just change it to what they want it to be.
Yeah, all the color, like the different colors is because we're different users, right?
Yep. Yep.
And is that because something that part confuses me a bit. That's because we're all online, or even if, let's say, the four of you are not on the document, I still see different colors.
Yep, because different people made them.
Yeah, so okay.
Yep. So the circles at the top will always tell you how many users currently have this document open and are working on it. But even after they leave, these colors will still stay, so I can see what comments did Lindsay make, what comments does Carolina make. So that way I can attribute each comment to the person who made it. That way if I have a question, I'm not emailing everyone who said that I made that comment about learning a new skill. I can just see that Melissa made that comment. And then I can just email Melissa specifically. They'll be like, why did you say that? Yes. So that is making the comment. And sometimes it doesn't always happen, once again, because Google and Microsoft don't always work well together. Like if I were to download these comments, they would appear on the downloaded Microsoft Word document. It would just appear different, but it would appear on it nonetheless. Now going to suggest mode. Two ways we can do that. Up on the upper right-hand side of our screen, you'll see where it says editing with a little pen next to it. I want you to change that to suggest things. And once you change that to suggesting, I want you to make some suggestions on things that need to be changed. And remember, you are not telling me delete this, add this. The computer's already doing it for you. I just want you to delete something you feel like that doesn't belong there, add a word that you feel like would make this sentence better. And we're gonna do that within everyone's little paragraph. Same thing, like just like we just did with the comments. I'm not gonna start on mine. Oh, that's a cute dog.
There we go. It's not blurry.
That's cute. Are you good, Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got distracted by the dog.
I know. I was like, that's cute. I was like, where did that come from?
Okay, Kira, so I highlighted something to make a suggestion.
So actually, whenever you are on the suggestion, you actually don't need to highlight anything. You just go ahead and make that suggestion. So kind of like whenever
Oh,
we're in English, when we're in English class, how like our teachers would like put all those reds, like you go ahead and
okay.
make your suggestions, do your thing. And just make sure you do that within everyone's section.
Lindsay that looks funny. The X on me, like
I don't know how that happened.
And because, Lindsay, remember, you're in suggestion mode. So you're suggesting that it gets deleted. But if you check mark wherever that suggestion is on your right-hand side, you should see somewhere where it says delete image. If you accept that suggestion, it'll go away.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Well, I am suggesting we get rid of it, so I don't know. This like overwhelms my OCD. There's a lot going
Yes.
on here.
And once again, you don't have to do it this way. You could tell people just email your comments directly to me. Because I know Karen Winden, she also feels that same way. I just want people to know this is a tool at your disposal. Do you have to use it? No, but it's
It is
available.
very cool.
I've also, Karen is like, that makes me feel crazy when I see all these different things everywhere. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I love it. But everyone's different.
I think when you have like it's just like maybe two people working on it.
Yeah.
But
It
when you have
definitely
people and a lot of colors and all those comments, like I get the same reaction when I first see that. Like, whoa!
it definitely has its place. It definitely has its place, for sure.
Uh-huh.
Definitely has its place. But as you can see, instead of telling Lindsay to add this or delete this, you just automatically do it. And then Lindsay can see what did she write originally versus what are the suggestions that you're making her. So she can kind of compare and contrast what was the original, what did the original look like and versus what the suggestions are. And now, since I know we have some OCD folks or people who might be overwhelmed by this, I want you to just practice accepting a couple of the suggestions or deleting a couple of them. So you just go to the right-hand side, and once you hover over suggestions, you can accept it or you can delete it. And it's that easy.
And now we can do that because we
Yeah,
all edit it, right?
exactly. When you are the editor, you have all the power. You have all the power. All the power.
How do you delete comments?
To delete comments, once you click on the comment, you'll see a check mark next to it, and then you can check that mark. Whenever you click a check mark or an X, comment suggestions go away.
So a comment, okay. So you have to accept the comment
Basically.
to
Or
delete it.
it's
Okay.
resolved, no longer relevant, or I already addressed it, or I don't want to deal with that.
Ah, okay.
No. Yep. Now, once again, giving us the opportunity for all of us to look at the version history. Again, I want everyone to go to File on the upper left-hand side and click on version history, please. Then see version history. Just so everyone can kind of see what that looks like.
So I'm only showing two. Is that what? But it says
Yeah,
total
two.
49 edits.
It's only showing two because until like I leave this and come back to it, it's not gonna show me like what it looks like at that time again.
Okay.
It's showing those so it's showing me there's been 49 edits between when I created it at 12:49 and between like 1:50.
And
Okay.
if you expand that, you can. Hmm. Hmm.
I love as we make new reflections or connections. And if you click that back arrow, you'll go back.
So
Oh,
you can tell who messed up.
pretty much. Yeah, you really can. Sometimes it'll show people as anonymous. I haven't figured that out yet, right? I haven't figured that out yet. Some people, like, I know for sure, as long as you're signed in, it should be able to recognize that it's Carolina who's making. Sometimes it'll show the person as anonymous, and then we won't know.
Hmm.
Theoretically. If you're signed into your email account, I should be able to see who's who messed up, pretty much. If you go to the insert up above, I want you to click on where it says drop down. And we're just gonna click, you can create your own we're just gonna click whatever is already suggested, where it says project status. And we're not gonna click on that. Yes.
So Kiara, it's so funny, but my computer does this every now and then. When I clicked on drop down, it
Yep.
spelled my name Israel. It added the A.
I think that might, so on most computers, kind of like when we're texting, how like there are certain spellings, like for example, Lindsay, there might be, maybe Melissa might be either. There might be different ways to spell Melissa, but over time, my phone might recognize that I'm spelling Melissa with two S's and not one. And it's like, do you want to add that to your dictionary, to like your phone's dictionary? And it's like, yes. So now whenever I type in Melissa, it's not trying with two S's, it's not going to try to change it to whatever the default spelling might be. So I have a feeling that what it's changing it to is the default, and we need to find a way to change it so that your default spelling is how your name is actually spelled.
Okay, and it comes up with an ignore
Yes.
button, so I can just click ignore that
Yes.
spelling of it.
Yes.
Okay, and then what did you want us to do?
What did I want you guys to do? Oh yeah, under insert, insert, then click on drop down,
Uh-huh.
then click on project status. Once again, just letting you know that these tools exist. Drop down, why would this be helpful? Like if I wanted to keep track of, like if I had like 4 or 5 different, well, let's say actually a project. If I was working on a project for SCGLR and there's like different, like picking up the bags, packing the bags, like for each different element of this book is cool, I could have this drop down next to it and then I could select, okay, TBIC, in progress, bag pickup, in progress, or bag pickup completed. Just once again, helping you create some order and managing whatever content you have on this. And once again, I made everyone click on the default option, but you can create your own. If I wanted this to be a record of everyone in my tech excellence class and what counties they were, I could have Lindsay, Carolina, Renee, and then my drop down could be Manatee, Sarasota, DeSoto. And then I just click on the drop down for that.
That's so cool.
It's so cool.
It is. And it continues to
For
evolve.
random shows, we always do like copy paste, complete.
Yes. 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 Now you can just already have this already built in for you, and all you have to do is select, 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 select. And that, we're gonna go to insert again, and then you're gonna click on table. Ideally, let's do a 4x4, so it's not too big.
Oops.
And remember, wherever your cursor is, that's where whatever you're inserting is gonna go. So if your cursor is all the way at the top, that's where the picture is gonna go. That's where the table is gonna go. That's where the drop down is gonna go.
What did you just ask us to do, Kira? I missed it. I
Not
was
a problem. Please insert a table. You're gonna go to insert,
okay.
table, and then the more you extend the grid, the bigger your table. Anything we're gonna keep it a little bit small. So 4x4, 3x3, something nice and easy is what I want you to create. Please.
Yeah, sorry, I created a 2x2 by mistake.
That's fine.
Can you edit it once you have it, or you have to delete
Yeah.
that and do the?
Okay, that's part. We're gonna make that part of the training. That's even more important. Once I created it, if I messed up or if I need more, what do I do? So if you click any cell or any box within your table, you should see two little mini menu bars pop up. On the right hand side, you should see, oh no, on the left On the left-hand side, you should see a little plus. If you click that plus, you add a row.
I don't see the plus.
And another way to do that, one second, because I'm so used to using.
My plus doesn't come either, but if I right click, I can
Yeah.
insert a row or delete a row.
Do you see it now, Renee?
Yes.
A
It
lot of
will work.
times I tend to right click for a lot of stuff, but right click is a way how you access, how you insert or delete or add stuff. Yes, Melissa.
I'm not seeing it either. I'm just seeing when you click on that box, whether I right click or left click, it's just a little box with an arrow.
Little box with an arrow. For example, if you maybe put your cursor outside of your table and now just kind of hover near like the upper left-hand corner of your table. Don't click on anything, but just kind of hover. That's when you'll start to see those little pop-ups appear. Let me know if you see that.
I just see like the cross now, yeah.
I'll come back to that. Well, good. I will come back to that. Good point. Because since you're on a laptop, are you on a laptop, Melissa, too?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I will come back to that. That's a good point. Table options. Now, everyone, I just want you to write something random, basically, or whatever, in your table.
I figured it out.
You got it? What was it?
I I just think I wasn't doing the two finger click. I was doing so
Yeah.
I did it with two fingers and the whole toolbar popped up and gave me multiple options.
Yep.
Just ignore me. That moment of smartness I had about 20 minutes ago, oh God, now.
That's usually how it goes. Melissa, it comes and it goes. It comes and it goes. We are at the mercy of our intelligence. Sometimes I'll just stare at a screen and be like, what was I trying to do again? Happens. It happens. Something I want to show people how to do is I want you to select, I don't know, everyone has a different number of rows. In your first row, if you have three, select all three. If you have two, select all two. And then right click it so that you can get your little menu bar. And I want you to select where it says merge. And a lot of times it's what people will do to do headings on their tables. And you can change the color, you can center it, you can change the font, you can do your thing. Yep, yep, yep. And once again, tables are just a way to kind of get yourself organized. Not to say you have to create them, it's helpful to be organized. Yep, wow, I like that, Lindsay. Nice, Renee, nice, Carolina. Carolina is bright and colorful. She's already ready for tomorrow. And so one thing you should know is whenever you share a document with someone, you become whenever you create a document, you are the owner of it. And because of that, whenever someone makes a comment, whenever they make a suggestion, your email associated with this Google Doc is going to be getting all sorts of notifications. That Melissa has made a comment, that Lindsay has made a suggestion. So just keep that in mind too.
Is there a way to turn that off? Like, let's say you know for the next 2 days that it's just going to be insane with people going in and filling out or doing whatever. Is there a way to say, I don't want notifications so I don't have 30,000 emails?
Hmm. I don't know. I will look that up. I will say though, it does it within like one email thread. That's a positive thing.
Oh, okay.
It is one email thread. But I didn't know that. I can look that up. How to turn off Google
Oh,
Doc mode.
I can look it up. I just wasn't sure if you knew.
Yeah. Oh, I lied. It does tell you. So on the email, so I'm gonna share my screen with everyone real quick. I'm sorry to disturb your creative processes. But this is, can you see my screen with my email?
Yep.
So this is the email that, well, actually, this is a email thread that's created. It's from Google Docs. And so these are all the ones that I get. And then right here is notification settings. But of course, it didn't give me the ability to shut it off. But yes, I believe that there would be a way to do that, but I just don't know where that is yet. Or I guess I could select none. That's, well, you see, Melissa, it's a learning process. You just play around with stuff and you learn things minute by minute. So if you don't want to get notifications, you just click on that notification settings and select none.
And that should only change those settings for that document, right? Now for all your...
Yeah, for that. It should be just for that document. And now I'm going to stop sharing. And I guess a lot of us may be familiar with this, but I guess one of the most important things about Google Docs is, yes, you have the ability to share with people, but you have the ability to share it in different ways. So if you go on the upper right-hand corner, if you click on share, you'll get that little pop-up menu. And you'll see a little picture of everyone who has access to the document already and with what privileges, so to speak. If I want to initially share a document with someone, I can just type in their email where it says add people, groups, calendar events. I can do it that way. And then the person is going to get an email that Kiara is sharing this document with you, and then I'll be able to open it. A lot of times, most of the way that I've seen TPF share things is by sending you the link. And to do that, on the bottom of the pop-up menu, the general access section, you'll see where it says either restricted or anyone with the link. If it's not on already anyone with the link, you can change it to anyone with the link. And then to the right of that, where it says editor, I want you to click on it.
What does restricted mean? Does that just you,
You know, I haven't restricted, it says only the people, this makes no sense to me, but when it's restricted, the link it provides, only those who have the link will be able to access the document.
okay? Because I was reading that too, and I was like, that doesn't make sense to me, but I must
But
just be
technically, anyone who I share the link with has access to the document. So isn't it always restricted? I mean, the link is not just living on the web.
that's what I
So,
thought. Okay.
yeah, I don't know. That's more confusing than helpful. But just know, really, you have the power to decide. For me, it's the document is always restricted in the sense of you get to decide who has access to it or not.
Yeah, I think if they share the link, like, let's say you give access to Renee and Renee shares the link with Melissa, but you
Mhm,
didn't give Melissa access, Melissa won't be able to see it. So that's
mhm.
when you get like the owner get a notification. So like I will get a notification saying, do you give access to Melissa? And I'll have to approve it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Carolina, because that didn't make sense to me either.
Well,
Yes, Renee.
Lindsay, just to give you an example, when I create a draft email to go to the families during the summer,
Mhm.
I will only let everyone be a viewer, because if I let everyone be an editor, then they start changing things, and it's like, no, you can copy it and then make your changes, but I don't want you to actually have the ability to change the document. Set
Okay, makes
original
sense.
document.
Yep. No, thank you. It's always nice to have those real life examples of how does this play out in the real world, so to speak. So there's always going to be those three options. You can either give people viewing privilege, all they can do is look at it. Commenting, all they can do is look at it and make comments. And then editor pretty much can do everything that you do. Just know that when you own a document, it just takes out of your Google Drive storage. That's the only thing between like the owner and all the other editors.
Say that again?
The difference between someone being the owner of a document versus just being an editor is that only the person who owns it, the document's going to take up out of their storage. Any questions people may have? And then once again, I just going to file, please, then download. And then you can do a Microsoft Word or a PDF. You can do whatever you want. Just once again, making sure you know that you have that option. And wherever your downloads go on your computer, that's where it's going to go on your computer.
Now I have a question.
Yeah, Renee.
And maybe this is for another class, but I want my downloads to go to my Google account or my Google Drive instead of my personal drive. Because right now all of my docs go over to my personal files, and I have personal files set up for TPF and SDLR and so on and so forth. But I would rather them go to my Google Docs, but I don't know how to do that.
So whenever you download something from Drive online, Renee, it's always going to go to your computer.
Yes.
So
Oh, it is.
So it's always going to go to your computer. Wherever it's downloading to, you don't want it to go, no, that's on your computer.
Okay.
And then going back to your second, I would say the most important thing, another thing with just the whole Google Drive universe, if you really want to keep your personal Gmail separate from your TPF Gmail so things don't mix, just make sure whenever you're creating something on Docs or you're accessing the drive, just make sure that you're signing, for example, I will just share my screen real quick because I know a lot of times people will have that issue. Like it's telling me I don't have access, but I thought that I did. You do, it's just sometimes when you have so many email accounts, can everyone see the TPF website?
Yes.
And simple. Yeah, so whenever you're signed into so many accounts, sometimes it has trouble determining what are you trying to sign in as. And then that's when I just click on my little me icon on the right-hand side. And then I switch to make sure I'm on the TPF email so that I can be accessing the TPF drive or uploading stuff to the TPF world and not to my personal files on my personal drive. But all that to say, Renee, that whenever you are downloading stuff, it's always going to your computer. When you need to make sure, when you're trying to upload it to the drive, just make sure you're signed to your TPF account. Once again. And sometimes when you click on Drive, you may automatically go to your personal account. And then you just have to make sure you switch back to TPF. And then that's when you got to make sure you start uploading stuff to make sure it's going to the TPF drive and not your personal one.